Well, Craig Hilton-Taylor is the head of the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List Unit. He joins us now from Cambridge in the UK. Thanks so much for being with us. I mean, sadly, it kind of is more bad news than good news. So first I want you to tell us what kind of shocked you most on this list.
I guess the big shock for us was how many species moved into the extinct category. To have 31 species suddenly be declared extinct overnight was quite shocking news.
What about, I mean, what I gotta say, what shocked me is that all the freshwater dolphins on the planet are now endangered. Or will they disappear?
They could well do unless we do something about it. So the one that joined the group recently is the takushi from South America, and the governments in the region are really concerned about the species and are coming together to develop a joint action plan to try and save this dolphin and the other freshwater dolphin that also occurs in the same Amazon River system.
Okay, what's really driving the extinction of specifically the dolphin species?
Well, for the dolphin, it's a mixture of things. So the Amazon River is an extremely busy river. There are lots of fishermen, so the dolphins get caught in the fishing nets unintentionally. There's lots of fishing, a lot of boat traffic, and they have collisions with the boats which kill them. More and more dams are being built on the river system. So there are 91 dams planned for the river in Brazil alone, and those all impact on the river flow. And of course, agriculture, as the forest is cleared, the loss of habitat changes the flow of the water, and pesticides that are used for the crops then flow into the water, and these kill the dolphins. So a whole range of different threats and different activities that have to be addressed.
Right, and so much of what kills these species is really done, you know, in the name of development. So how do you stop it?
Well, it's all about sustainable development, doing it in harmony with nature. Many of the problems that are facing the world can be solved by looking to nature for those kinds of solutions. And so if you look at the European bison story, if you preserve the European bison, it helps to preserve the habitats that are associated with the bison, and that then supports thousands of other species which are important for pollination services and many other services, ecosystem services across Europe.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the European bison. I mean, tell us how that, you know, that track was actually reversed. And I mean, can that kind of change be scaled up to help other species, or is the bison a little too specific?
No, absolutely. We can learn a huge amount from that process. So the European bison is a species that virtually went extinct. So it was extinct in the wild in the early 20th century because of overhunting and loss of habitat. But fortunately, there were animals in zoos, and through a very intense captive breeding program, they built up the numbers, and then they were able to reintroduce them back into the wild with the help of government support, local conservation organizations, and even civil society. So we now have 47 free-ranging herds of European bison in 10 countries across Europe. Numbers have gone up very, very sharply from under 2,000 in 2003 up to over 6,000 last year. So really positive news. But
Okay.
the story doesn't end there. It's not out of the woods yet, because catastrophe could hit any day. The bison could be affected by disease. So we have to do much more to preserve the bison and expand its range.
Okay, you alluded to this in your other answer, but I'd like you to tell us a little bit more and help us understand what happens when we actually do lose an entire species, and you know, that chain reaction that can affect an entire ecosystem.
Yes, well, there's a very good example of that that's come onto the red list this time, which is called the sunflower starfish, which occurs off California and the Canadian coast. And that species has declined very, very sharply because of a disease which is affecting it as a result of the warming waters because of climate change. And the knock-on effect of the loss of that starfish is that the sea urchins are now increasing in size. The population is increasing in size because the starfish was its main predator. And the urchins are eating the kelp on the west coast of California. And with the loss of the kelp, that's affecting the whole ecosystem. And so we will see sea otters and all the other species that are associated with that being affected. So there are huge knock-on effects there.
Okay, Craig Hilton-Taylor, great to have you. Best of luck, you know, with your efforts going forward. I think we all need you desperately to succeed. Thanks so much.